Hi folks, retired engineer here, and today we're going to explore the question on a radon fan, do I need to run my fan full time? And as I found out in our system, the answer is no, and I'll show you how we investigated that. First, the system is very conventional, consists of a sealed sump down below, going through a 3-inch pipe. You can see the fan is running right now, the system is running by the manometer, goes out through the wall to a fan, into a 4-inch pipe and out above the roof line. This used to be a regular on-off switch. It's been replaced with a programmable switch. The fan is only 70 watts, so this is the same kind of switch you'd use for a light switch. I will say if you install this, the back of the switch is similar to a dimmer. It's deep, so you either want a very deep box, or like I did, make a double box so that you're not trying to smash the switch and the extra connections all into a small area. And then here's the radon meter, available either at Home Depot or you can get it from Amazon, that I use to take my readings with. Okay, so we're going to back up to last fall when I first got this system running, and my first indication that maybe this fan didn't need to be running full time. So here we are up on the roof. Here's my pipe. Fan's running. This is fairly heavy surveyor's tape. Gives you an idea of how much air this fan is moving through the system here. Okay, so how much airflow are we talking? I look up the data on the fan, which is actually 87 watts. I incorrectly said 70 earlier. It's rated to flow 159 cubic feet a minute. Calculating out for a 4-inch pipe exit, it says that the flow speed should have been a little over 20 miles an hour. I don't think we were seeing 20 miles an hour, but we were definitely seeing more than 10, so I'm going to conservatively use 12 for a calculation here. At 12 miles an hour, our flow rate over the whole day calculates out to 130,000 cubic feet each day. That's like taking all of the air in a 2,000 square foot home with a full basement and pulling that 4 times a day, all from the air that's underneath the slab in your basement. So that certainly sounds like that's an awful lot of air to be pulling through there. So before I started taking data, I did look up on the internet to see what information I could find about running the fan part-time, how much airflow you might need. Didn't find a lot of information, so I started taking measurements. And pretty quickly, I got confused because the radon level and the amount I was running the fan didn't really seem to correlate. I tried turning the system completely off, and the levels didn't seem to rise. And I began to wonder if the system was somehow running passively. Didn't make sense that it could, given the layout and the fact that the weather was cold outside. But I started taking measurements while I was blocking and unblocking the pipe with the fan off, and after a while what I realized is that wasn't the issue at all. What was going on is it takes a very long time for the radon levels to sort of concentrate underneath the house and into the house. And you can see here, this would be like maybe day 10, things are starting to stabilize, and it would take even longer for them to really stabilize. Now this amount of kind of like jitter here in the data, day to day, that's very normal for radon readings, and that's why if you take a reading, they have you average over at least 4 days and longer if you can. What was the final outcome of all this? And this took me all of the heating season. You normally do the radon levels with the house closed up to get all the points on this line. So this is the amount of time I'm running the fan, for everywhere from no time up to 100%. And this is what my radon level is in the lower level of the house. And these are 7 to 10 day averages. And then over here is how much the electrical cost for the 80 some watt fan would be, depending on how much I'm running the fan. So as you can see here, you run the fan full time, I'm down to the outdoor level range. I cut it to 50%, I'm still there. At 25%, I'm still in the outdoor range. And then as you gradually get way down here into the 10% range and lower, that's when your radon levels begin to build. So you could make an argument probably to be anywhere from here up to here as how much you're running the fan. I picked this data point right here at 21%, and it happens to be 5 hours a day. And so I'm running the fan 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours in the afternoon. And based on the green line here on how much I'm spending, I'm only spending about $10 a year to run the fan as opposed to $50 full time. So not major economics, but still $40 a year more than paid for the $13 switch to put it in, and maybe my fan will last longer too. If you decide to experiment on your own house, what I would recommend to make things go faster is first, maybe try way down here. If your levels are similar to ours, maybe you've got 6 to 8 or so in your lower level. Try way down here. And then if it starts to rise too quick for your comfort, or you find out you're good, you could stay right in there. Or you could start increasing your fan level. Apparently, gray cats also approve of this data. While with black cats, it's all about the hardware. Here's a little piece of trivia on radon gas that's just interesting. This is the decay chart that radon is part of. And radon starts actually as uranium under the ground in your soil. Maybe it's 15, 30 feet down, something like that. And it's going through a decay sequence where this is alpha radiation. Here it's actually spitting out a piece of its nucleus, which means it turns into a new element. So it starts as uranium, it goes to thorium, and you can see that lasts a very short period of time, then goes back to another piece of uranium, thorium, then finally radium, which is another metal-like substance, which will be there for quite a while, half-life 1590 years, and that at some point it spits out another piece of its nucleus and it turns into radon gas here. So it goes from metal to a radon gas. The gas doesn't last a long time, but certainly long enough to work its way up and seep into your house. Then it goes through several other rapid decays of bismuth and lead, different versions of lead, and finally ends up down here at lead 206, which is stable. So it's no longer radioactive, but now it's back to another metal, and not a lot of lead, but lead's not really something you want to have in your house either.